looking at it. In fact, if I try to send her new people, she's like, no, I can't
it's
handle
true.
it anymore.
And then they have some where they'll say, I won't do unless it's a minimum of what I've had people turn me down.
That's right.
This was
That's
2
right.
years ago.
You sold
So
that
like,
parents'
That's right.
house,
oh, yes.
cleaning it out, we just sold it without being on the market. And they're gonna do the same thing, like, every spring.
I can start. Good evening, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting, Kaysville Planning Commission, Thursday, June 9th, to order. And again, just a reminder, if you're here for the live streaming of Game 4 of the NBA Championships, it's not happening. So we'll go to item number 2, public hearing for rezone application for the Cliftons at 42 North Angel Street from RA Agricultural Residential District to R1-14 Family Residential District. And I'll let staff start off with that one.
Thank you, Chair. We received an application from M. Cody Clifton, who is here tonight, present with his son as well, to have a rezone done at his property at 42 North Angel Street, as you said. The property is half acre, just over a half acre, 24,000 square feet. It's currently used as a single family dwelling. The current zoning is RA, which has a minimum requirement of 21,780 square feet. And based on that, the property could only be used for one single family detached dwelling. The requested zoning is R114 that has a minimum square foot lot size of 14,000 square feet. And the density entitlement would still be the same at one lot. I'll let the applicant go into a little bit more detail as to why they're proposing this, because it would seem a little bit strange to change density when you're not, or to change zoning when you're not changing the density. But what this would allow them to do is change that property at 42 North Angel Street to a smaller lot size, sell that to their son, increase acreage on the back 2 lots, and so this is in anticipation of a forthcoming lot line adjustment that would be submitted. So this is an aerial shot of the property. Again, there's 3 lots there. 42 North is the property we're talking about. There was a subdivision done previously, the Clifton subdivision, and 2 separate flag lots were created on that back area. This is just kind of a zoomed in view of the property, and that's backwards though, because this front parcel is the one that's 42 North. So it was 4250 and then I think 56 North for the addressing on those 2 back flag lots. This is a slide that just shows the existing zoning around the property. There is quite a few different zoning district applications in the area. So this R114 would not be out of context considering the proximity to the R18 that's just a little bit north and east of there. You also have R114 just right south of the property as well. This is just a slide that shows what currently exists. Again, this is the property there at 42 North, and then the back 2 lots with those flag lots. This is as it currently exists, and then again, that if the zone change is approved, this would be the anticipated lot line adjustment that would allow this property, the front property, to be reduced to a lot as small as 14,000 square feet, but what they're proposing would be a lot that's about 16,000 square feet, and then some of that acreage again would be added on to there would be a lot line adjustment between these back 2 to kind of adjust that. Just real quickly, some differences between the RA and the, this is not the right slide. Differences between the RA and the the R114 zone, the main differences you would see would just be the lot size, again, 21,780 square feet for R8 compared to 14,000 square feet for R114. The density, again, is the same. The minimum lot width is 10 feet less on the R114. Building height allowances, front setbacks, side setbacks are the same. The rear setback is 15 feet less in the R114. So when we look at rezones, we want to look towards what our general plan says we should do. There are some good goals and policies in the currently adopted 2019 general plan that suggest this type of a rezone would fit within the general plan. And the first one is identity and character, and Kaysville wants to remain primarily a residential community. This is a residential zone, so this does fit within that. Growth and development suggests that we should look to high quality but diversified and adaptable to changing conditions. The R114 zone allows for smaller size properties, and so this would diversify a little bit the lot sizes that were within that particular subdivision, the Clifton subdivision. We also want to look at housing, and the subject property is located on the west side of I-15, and that does give deference to keeping single-family zoning districts in its vicinity, but larger lot sizes have traditionally been applied out there. But again, given its location and the proximity to existing zoning, this would not be out of place. The general plan also speaks to having single unit attached or detached, and the cities will seek to provide a variety of housing choices, and including a means for allowing homes in a variety of sizes. So again, you have different lot sizes that does allow for different size homes based on the minimum square footage requirement. Not necessarily, but generally you would be able to have a smaller size home, or a larger size home on a larger size lot, and vice versa. So this is interesting and something that comes up frequently, and I actually was, call your nerd alert, but I was reading through some state code the other day, and I wanted to point this out, but state code defines the moderate income housing as anywhere between 80 to 100% of the area median income. And so when we have often the public come up and comment and say, this is absurd to say this would be affordable housing, or that this would be moderate income housing because of the price range of it. Well, if you look at the definition that the state provides, they're actually defining that as a range of anywhere between 80 to 120%. So if you look at it from that context, I think it is reasonable to say, look, smaller lot size, smaller home sizes would allow for more of that area median income to meet that goal. So again, though our moderate income housing plan, there were two portions of that felt germane to this rezone. The first one was to, again, rezone for single family. This is single family. It's going from single family to single family, but it still falls within there. And then number 9 was rezoning for densities that would be necessary to assure the production of moderate income housing. And I think, as the applicant will explain, this really is the sole intent of their wanting to have this property rezoned, is to create a more affordable product for their son and his wife and family. So, oh, do we have that in there twice? I'm sorry, this is... Anyway, we did send out 31 public notices to a radius of 500 feet of the property. We did receive, I think, a couple of phone calls, people were, I think, more curious as to what like why there was a sign out at the property versus, we did not receive any comments that stated that they were against this or were opposing this. We did not receive any emails as we generally have with some of the other rezones that have come through this year. So there, to date, I would say there have not been any public comments received. Given all of this information presented and in the staff report, we are recommending that the Planning Commission send a recommendation of approval of the zone change from RA to R114 and that they send that to the City Council. So I'm happy to answer any questions, and as I said, the applicant's here this evening to address any questions you may have as the commission.
Awesome, thank you. Great presentation. Would like to ask you a question in regards to the state's definition of moderate housing income. Is there a code for that we can, just for future reference?
Yeah, I will pull it up. Give me just a second.
Yeah, that'd be great. In the meantime, would the applicant like to come up and say a few words?
Is it under 10.9A?
Again, just make sure if you could pull that down and
Is it on? Okay.
just state your name and.
My name is Paul Clifton. I'm Cody's father, and Cody and Kristen, my daughter-in-law. We subdivided, it was a little less than 2 acres several years ago.
I remember that.
And made 3 lots out of it, half acre plus. And my daughter is on the back lot, the longest flag lot. And then the middle lot, also a flag lot, is where my wife and I hope to build a house. And I think we all know the value of land in our community is kind of gone up considerably. So to make our house a little more affordable for Cody and his wife, we'd like to take 56 feet on the back of his lot that fronts Angel Street and put that into the middle lot where my wife and I hope to build, plus give 20 feet to our daughter that's on the back property. That gives her a little bit more front yard and gives her a little more distance between her mom and dad. So that's essentially what it amounts to. So, any questions?
So obviously the Burtons, the Johnsons, and Christoffersons are okay. I mean,
Yeah. If you know Dave.
I know Dave. I'm your neighbor too. I'm just off of Bonneville and
okay.
Preston, so
Yeah.
I got to notice.
Yeah. No, Dave and I are brothers. And if he had a problem, I would be the first he would come to.
Okay.
And that's the kind of relationship we have. So I'm not aware of any. I think there was one comment made that was, I didn't actually see it, and I don't know who made it, but it sounds like it was based on a misunderstanding of exactly what was going on. And I think all of us express opinions sometimes when we don't have a full understanding of what the situation is. But other than that, I'm not aware of any concerns from any neighbors or anything. Mel Christofferson is just on the south side of me, you may know that. And he's fully aware of what's going on as well. We'll be sharing another fence and stuff like that. So.
I have a technical question.
Sure.
Is the stem, the flag portion, is that owned by your daughter in the back? Who owns the stem?
Okay. 18, the right of way, as I understand, is 36 feet.
Okay.
From the extreme north boundary, I call it the northwest, 18 feet belong to my daughter on that third lot. And then the additional 18 feet will belong to that middle lot, which will be us.
Okay.
And I'm glad you brought that up. A lot of the reason for this additional footage will be dedicated to the lane. A lot of square footage goes into that lane, and so that's where some of that's going.
Yeah, just curious about, is that still, I'll ask this of staff, is that still the city's policy on flag lot development? That the right-of-way is carved up that way? It's not owned by the HOA or by the homes themselves?
I think they could do either Actually, I think it has to remain ownership with the lot.
Okay. The reason I ask is, in the future, when there's flag lot development proposed, you know, it is from a planning perspective, it would be better if the land in the stem is allowed to be included in the lot area. The stem should not be used as a way to nix a piece of ground that's really close to being conforming. That land can be used in a different way. I've seen it done.
To get the lot size requirements, yeah, it is allowed to. I may not have answered your question correctly, but the pole or the stem of the flag is allowed to be included in the required square footage for the lot.
Oh, okay. Okay, good.
Perfect.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different ways to do that type of development. I'm just saying the way that land is owned should not be used as a tool to nose out somebody from developing a building lot. And I've seen that done again and again.
Yeah, we do count that towards the
Good,
the square footage required.
good. Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anybody else? Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Going back to staff, do we have questions for staff? Pretty straightforward.
Yeah, we just would need to have a public hearing when you're ready for that, Chair. And I am looking, of course, now I can't find that definition, but I am going to continue to look.
Okay. Is there anybody here to talk about this issue? Opening up to the public hearing, going once, twice, closed public hearing. Back to our commissioners.
I've got a comment.
Yes.
First of all, I'd like to compliment our staff for a really good staff report, in particular for making a recommendation. Sometimes on these kinds of issues, I know this one's not very political. This one doesn't have a lot of opposition. We didn't get a lot of emails, but I really think it's incumbent upon paid staff to always provide a recommendation on what their position is. In this case, I'll give you my perspective, which is this is a very, very supportable application, and I highly recommend. I'm going to vote yes on this one. This is not a complicated deal, but anything on the west side of I-15 that reduces lot sizes and minimum zoning should be looked at. And I can say that as somebody who's lived on the west side for 26 years now. I built my home on a half-acre lot when I was 36.
Where were you at some of these public comments?
Well, believe it or not,
Can we
guys.
go back in time?
I came out. I came here.
Just kidding.
In my early 40s and encouraged the city over the years, talking to different planners and talking to different council, Nika Roundy and Lorene Kamalu, came down to Holiday, and I took her around and showed her for hours and hours about planning stuff. Not patting myself on the back. I'm just simply saying, as an urban planner who lives on the west side, I can tell you that policy, that long-term policy, needs to start breaking down. And I think we should wholeheartedly support anything that allows for more flexible living arrangements and reduces the burden on property owners of taking care of and this is a term you might find funny, but when we all create half-acre lots, it's great until you get older like me, and now it's really hard to get out and take care of a half-acre. I've been paying teenage kids, neighbors for years to mow my lawn and do stuff because I'm 61 now, I'm tired. And when you build those lots, and that policy sounds great at the time, but frankly, you're creating building lots that are too small to plow and too big to mow. And that's what it really comes down to. It's a burden for property owners, and we should be looking to change that policy. So enough said. I strongly recommend we approve this based on that and other reasons, but I won't go into them unless I have to.
No, I really appreciate that. If you do have other reasons, I'd like to hear it too. I think this brings up, when we do get into these arguments or we hear arguments, sometimes the majority is the minority, vice versa. You bring up a great point, which is we've always heard landowners buying bigger properties way back when, whatever that is, if you want to call it 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, everybody's definition of back in the day seems to change. And then their plans change. So I wholeheartedly agree with the right of the property owner, and this happens to be, like what you said, one of those reasons, maybe just you can't take care of the big property. But yeah, this one's a no-brainer, giving the rights of the property owner to just see fit how he and his family want to live. Yeah, I mean, that's just my opinion.
One other comment I forgot to mention. Sometimes, let's say there was a lot of residents out here complaining about this, saying this is a spot zone. We need to kind of erase that whole idea of a spot zone out of our minds. That, in case law in Utah and other places, the whole concept of a spot zone as a reason to deny a reduction in lot size is no longer valid. So the legislative body, the governing body here, the city council, they could rezone this to whatever they want, and the courts is going to give them a wide berth on whether or not that goes through. So I don't think there's a danger here of anybody saying that's a spot zone. In fact, this ought to happen more often, in my opinion. So I applaud the application and, again, support it.
Other commissioners, anything?
I did find that code citation, but in my mind, I read something that was between 80 and 120%, but they're
It's 80 or less.
80 or
Yeah,
less,
that's
okay.
fine.
So I don't know what I was reading, maybe it was another study or something, but 80 or less, and still that's, I think
Family of four, that's 78,000 in our county.
78,000.
Is it what it
for a
is for
family of
Davis
four?
County?
For Davis
So
County.
7,
That's the world I used to live and breathe in.
That's the county.
Yeah.
That's,
78
Yeah.
And you
for
find that on the
Davis.
HUD
But the-
website.
so it would be 80% of that,
No, that's 80%.
or that is 80%?
That's the
okay.
adjusted.
Okay,
Yeah.
You can find that on the HUD. It's the Clearfield Ogden Metro.
okay.
Okay. Any help? Back on track? Any other commissioners' comments? I know we're all looking to you. You know that, right?
I don't have anything to say.
You sure about that?
Mark the
Yep.
name.
Okay, then I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve recommendation of rezone for M. Cody Clifton at 42 North Angel Street from RA Agricultural Residential District to R114 Single Family Residential District.
I'll second that.
Okay, we'll start voting with you, Josh.
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
So pass. Thank you for your time. Next, we'll go to number 3, call the public. Anybody going once, twice, close. Going on to number 4.
I did send an email earlier today, but at the June 23rd meeting, we are hoping all of you could come an hour early at 6 o'clock to have a joint discussion with the city council about the general plan. They were going to discuss that at the last city council meeting, but there were many items on the agenda and they did not get around to doing that. So this time they're going to come to you at the planning commission meeting, which is nice. And then we will go from there on next steps with the general plan. We also have been able to get a couple of text amendments processed, so we'll be bringing back to you the explosives, and then we will also bring to you the model home, changing that from conditional to permitted use. So those 2 items will be on the agenda, and I don't know what else at this point, but we don't have any rezones, so that'll be a nice night off.
You're here.
Be my last meeting too, yes.
I don't have anything else. Well, yeah.
Between now and then.
I don't have anything else. One of the things that I am, we would have to have notices mailed tomorrow, so
Yeah.
there won't be anything else on the agenda for, as far as like a rezone. I already let the Johnsons know if they were to submit that tomorrow, we wouldn't be able to get that done until July, but
Will there be food served at this?
we were not planning on doing that, so it's been a tough budget
Actually, I'm not too sure I can make it.
discussion
Kidding.
here. So, bring a snack or eat before. Yeah.
That's a lot of work. That is so much work.
Where I left, we cooked for every
Commissioners,
PC
anything,
council.
or you have anything?
Meal. Every meeting.
So that's all I have, unless any of the commissioners have anything.
Do
Wow,
I hear?
7:30.
I know. Do I hear a?
So moved.